Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman, and this is a topic that I never thought I'd have to discuss: the future of Daniel Ricciardo in Formula 1. And does he have a future in Formula 1? It's crazy to even be asking this question. If you are a Formula 1 fan, if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, because I'm live for every single qualifying session and every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship. But it is summer break, and so during the next 2 or 3 weeks, whilst there's no racing on, I am going to be going through some topics that are relevant, and any kind of big news as well. I'll come live for. It probably in the evenings though, so don't expect streams in the mornings. But during the evenings, if there's any like big breaking news stories or topics that are important and relevant, I will be coming live until we get to the Belgian Grand Prix, which is at the end of this month, about the 26th or something like 26th of August. So yeah, the topic today, and what is the big thing in Formula 1 at the minute, is the future of Daniel Ricciardo, and will he continue at McLaren, or if not, will he indeed continue in Formula 1? Yo Tax, welcome in Asa. Yeah, just a bit of a topic. Changed the background as well. We've got a slideshow of Daniel Ricciardo's Formula 1 career to date. You know, it's not necessarily the end of his career, and I don't think it should be, and I don't think it will be. I think he's only about 33 years old. I should have looked that up, but I think he's about 32, 33. Daniel Ricciardo. And yeah, we're just going to have a bit of a slideshow in the back going through. He's won 8 Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo. And I can't believe I'm even sat here with the prospect of that he may not have a drive for the 2023 season. If you aren't up to speed with the latest news, it has kicked off majorly in the last few days with young Australian. It's weird how it's an Australian that might push him out of McLaren, but yeah, with young Australian, let me just sort out this. We don't want any with young newcomer Oscar Piastri. Now, he is reigning Formula 2 champion, and there's been a lot of drama with Piastri in the last few days, with Vettel retiring on Thursday, then Alonso moving to Aston Martin straight away. That was announced by Monday. And then we had all this drama that Alpine had announced that Piastri was going to replace Alonso for 2023. About an hour later, I literally went live for that news that Piastri is going to be driving alongside Ocon for Alpine in 2023. Because of the departure of Fernando Alonso, I was like, right, bam, we're on it. We come live, we do the whole talk about, I go through Piastri's junior career, how he's Formula 2 champion, 6 wins, Alpine reserve driver, it all makes sense, new guy on the grid, big hype. I was like, yes, here we go then. A new rising star of Formula 1 could be coming in. And then literally like an hour later, Piastri himself comes out on Twitter and says, I will not be driving for Alpine in 2023. And this has led to the speculation, and the speculation is becoming more and more solid as the days go on, with people like Autosport coming out and various other Formula 1 news sources coming out saying that he's likely to have a drive at McLaren next year next to Lando Norris. And where does it leave this man? Where does it leave 8-time Grand Prix winner Daniel Ricciardo? It's crazy, because 4 or 5 years ago, you could have said Daniel Ricciardo's... I mean, people still believe it now, that Daniel Ricciardo is one of the best drivers in the world, one of the best drivers on the grid. And I just feel like it's just gone really downhill in the last in the last 3 or 4 years. You know, he's gone from winning races, being in a competitive car with Max Verstappen, and then, you know, maybe he felt like Red Bull were looking too much at Max Verstappen and the team were favouring him, and Red Bull were building a team around Max Verstappen even 4 or 5 years ago when Verstappen was like 18. Maybe he felt that Red Bull were building a team around Verstappen and thought, do you know what? I'm going to look elsewhere. I'm going to look where it might be a case of where you want to be the big fish in the smaller pond, you know? And I think Renault sold him the dream. And so he left Red Bull at the end of 2018 onto pastures new. You know, the grass is always greener and all that. I need to sort. I don't know why the green screen's so bad. Wait there. Let me filters. Let me sort this out because I'm not sitting here with it like that. It's a delicate balance. There we go. I feel like that's a little bit better. I feel like that's a bit better. Yeah. So he left Red Bull at the end of 2018, onto pastures new. Obviously been sold the dream by Renault. And it's just not worked out. It's just not worked out. He went to Renault alongside Hulkenberg. And then it's been pretty anonymous, you know. I think he struggled with reliability in that Renault. They had a lot of breakdowns there. But his career just started to unfold. When this is it, this was one of the first pictures at Renault, showing off his brand new crash helmet, beginning of 2019 season. You know, when you thought, this is it, right? He's at Renault. You know, he's going to be the kingpin. This was the car. This was the Renault. I think it was called RS19 or something. This was the car. Daniel was in yellow, and you felt like, right, this is it. Big fresh start for the Aussie. And he just sort of faded into a bit of anonymity, and that's the worst thing you can be in Formula One. And there he is with his serious face on as things started to realise that it's just a midfield car, and it was just a midfield team at that point in time. And then, obviously, didn't stay at Renault for long, did 2 years. But I think there was even rumour when in pre-season testing. This is the car for 2020, and there was even rumours during pre-season testing in 2020 that he was already looking at a way out of Renault. So he was literally a year in at Renault, already looking for the exit. So he does the 2020 season anyway with Renault again. It's a midfield. I think he picked up a couple of podiums, but he didn't get any wins. He didn't win. For Renault, I think he got a couple of podiums, as you see in there. That was a podium, and then this is the McLaren. This is this was still his Renault days. I think this is 2020 in the Renault. Then he goes to McLaren, 2021. I think, right, there it is. Here's a McLaren, and you're thinking, right, another fresh start. Here we go. He's alongside Lando Norris. Now can he get his career back going? Now can he get back to the Red Bull days where he's winning races, fighting for championships? Now are we on it? And aside from an amazing Grand Prix win, there he is with Lando Norris. So you thought this partnership, you're thinking this is it. You know, this is the right team for Daniel Ricciardo. This is it. I'm all right. How are you? Come and say hello. Yeah, no worries, Ernesto. Obviously, just pop in when you can. But yeah, guys, this is his scenario. Despite the incredible win in Monza, we see in a couple of pictures here from, despite the incredible win in Monza, the last 4 years have been a struggle, and it's now time stops for no man. And then now McLaren looking to the future. And are they now looking to the next man? Because how many times a season is Ricciardo beating Norris? You know, not at all. Not at all. You know, maybe once in a season. And it's probably that Italian Grand Prix, you know, that he actually won was probably the one or two times that he's actually managed to beat Norris in the last 18 months. But it's just really tough to see. You know, nothing is confirmed yet. Nothing is confirmed. And the weird thing is that Daniel Ricciardo has got a contract with McLaren for 2023. This is the weird thing. Because how much does that contract mean? If, what, they're just going to buy him out? Are they going to spend millions and millions and they're going to have to pay him out of his contract, buy him out of it, and say, listen, you know, we're really sorry, bang, here's 25 million, see you later. And then this is the big question, what next? If they do decide, you know, obviously, like I say, nothing's confirmed, it's just conjecture, and it's just the way things are looking as we stand right this second. As we stand, things can change so quick, but as we stand, it looks like Oscar Piastri is going to replace Daniel Ricciardo at McLaren for 2023. So McLaren will have a lineup of Norris, Piastri, which I think's really strong, because Norris has got, you know, 2-3 years under his belt now. He's not a rookie anymore. And then to put that with Oscar Piastri, the hottest young talent in the world, the question is, if that does happen, what does Daniel do? What does Daniel do? So let's look at the options. Let's look at the options. I've written down the options here in front of me, right? This is when he first started in Formula 1. We're going around here. This is lap 2 of the slideshow now. I was actually at his debut at the 2011 British Grand Prix. I was there in the stands down at turn... Well, it was the new section, so it was technically turn 3. I was down at the hairpin at turn... I think it was probably turn 3. I think they call it Farm Curve. But yeah, I was there for Daniel Ricciardo's debut in the HRT, and this is what it looked like. This was Daniel Ricciardo's first Formula 1 car. I mean, people forget about these days, flipping HRT days. But just a reminder, you know, that Daniel Ricciardo's had a you know, he's 11 and a half years in to his Formula 1 career. Daniel Ricciardo, you know, 11 years in. But yeah, what are his options? That's when he moved to Toro Rosso in 2012. So, you know, Daniel's been at HRT, Toro Rosso, then obviously got the call up to Red Bull. Then they were his best days until now. You never know what's coming in the future, but until now, you know, his Red Bull days, 8 Grand Prix victories. In fact, I've got them here. His wins. I have got them saved here. So Daniel Ricciardo won the 2014 Canadian Grand Prix, 2014 Hungarian Grand Prix, and the 2014 Belgian Grand Prix. What a year! 3 wins, you know, and that was the first year of the turbo hybrids. Why is that so weird, the green screen? I might have to change it again. I don't know why it's so sketchy, that. No, that's the wrong way. Go this way. There we go. There we go. I was saying we got an invisible background again. I don't know why I have so much trouble with that. Even with ring lights and all the rest of it, it still ain't the one. But yeah, so he won 3 races in 2014 with Red Bull. This was the 2014 car, incidentally. Then he won 1 race in 2016, so he didn't win in 2015. Won the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2016. Won in Baku, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017. Then won 2 Grand Prix in 2018. Won the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix. In fact, the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix was a beast. I think he overtook. I think he had an amazing last stint. I'm sure I remember about the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix. I'm sure in the last 15 laps, he overtook the top 5 to come through and win. I'm sure I remember that being an epic win. China 2018. Then he won 2018 Monaco, which was like a redemption from a couple of years earlier that he should have won it. And then, of course, he wins for McLaren in Monza last year. So those were his 8 wins. So 2014 Canada, 2014 Hungary, 2014 Belgium, 2016 Malaysia, 2017 Azerbaijan, 2018 China, 2018 Monaco, 2021 Italy. There's 8 Grand Prix wins, and now we're sat here going, is he going to even get a seat for 2023? It's absolutely mad. But yeah, what are his options for next year? If McLaren do go for Oscar Piastri and say goodbye to Daniel Ricciardo, well, the options are this. He ain't going Red Bull. Those days are done. That's not even worth considering. They've got Verstappen on obviously a long contract. You know, Verstappen, you know, said when he won his championship last year, he said, "Can I be with you guys for the rest of my career?" So Verstappen ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Sergio Perez has signed a contract as well for 2023, so that's completely out. Ferrari's out. Leclerc again is on a multi-year contract. You know, he's signed 3 or 4 year deal. Carlos Sainz has recently, in the last few months, been signed up for 2023 as well. Then obviously you've got Mercedes are locked down, mate. You've got 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton on great form now as well, on great form, with probably the driver of the season so far, well, other than championship leader Max Verstappen. But if you're looking outside Max Verstappen, who's won 8 Grand Prix, you've got to say driver of the season, George Russell. So Mercedes probably got the strongest lineup on the grid, I'd say. So that's out. Now, Alpine. Does he take that seat at Alpine? The thing is the ball even in his court, right? Because I saw someone put on Twitter the other day, Daniel, please take the Alpine seat. Please take that Alpine seat. And I'm thinking, would Alpine take him? Welcome in, Anto. Welcome in. China was his best race. Yeah, China 2018. I remember that being an epic win. I remember that being a real, like, wow. Like, I remember that being an incredible. I think he was diving down the inside, down that hairpin, which is like, what, turn 5, turn 6 or something. The hairpin in the first sector at China. So you got like turn 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be turn 5. Turn 5 in China. He was just diving down the inside, and I'm sure he passed like 4 or 5 cars to win that. That was peak Daniel. That was Daniel Ricciardo at his peak. You know, like 2018. You know, he was battling for the championship. Well, he was in contention. You know, for those Red Bull years. Anyway, yeah. So I'm on about his options for next year. So Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes, top 3 are out. Now Alpine. The thing is, he's done Alpine. You know, Alpine is Renault. And he's been at Renault for 2 years. It didn't work out. He dropped him. He moved to McLaren. He left that team. Do you really go back 2 years later with your tail between your legs and sort of go, should we give it another go? I was wrong to leave you. Do you go back to that ex and say, you know, let's give it another go? Would Alpine even take him back? Are Alpine going to look at other things? You know, I feel like if I'm Alpine, if I'm Otmar Safnauer or someone in charge at Alpine and Daniel Ricciardo comes knocking, I'd have the discussion and I'd have the chat. But you know what? I'd probably think, let's look to the future. If I was Alpine, I'd probably think, let's look to... Now, if Alpine are really struggling... But the thing is, there's always more drivers than seats. This is the thing. There's always more drivers than seats, and Alpine will have people queuing up. I can't believe that Piastri put him in the mud the way he did, because I think it's a great seat in Formula 1. I think they'll beat McLaren to 4th in Constructors this season, and I think it's a great seat in Formula 1, and someone will snap it up, but I feel like, will they go back over old ground? Will we see Daniel Ricciardo at Alpine? Possibly. You can't rule it out. I can't sit here and go, no chance. I can't do that. And anyone that does come on or puts a tweet or puts a keyboard warrior mode going no chance is rubbish, because there's always a chance. that you could see a lineup for Alpine of Ocon, Ricciardo. But I don't know. I don't know. If I'm Alpine, I'm probably going thanks, but no thanks. You know, especially going off the last 2-3 years form wise, it's just probably better to look to the future if you're Alpine. But yeah, then you've got Alfa Romeo. Now Alfa Romeo, I think Bottas is on a multi-year deal. So that's that. Now you've got Zhou Guanyu in the other car. I feel like Alfa Romeo during this summer break, or if not shortly after this summer break, are going to confirm that Zhou Guanyu will be driving for them for 2023. I think that'll probably be the next story. Probably the next time I'll be live, or well, that or the I tell you what might be confirmed news. It might be this Porsche buying into Red Bull might be the next thing. So you've got Zhou Guanyu. Are they really going to drop Zhou Guanyu after one season and put Daniel Ricciardo in? Now Bottas Ricciardo is a great like midfield. You know, it's a great midfield team, that Bottas Ricciardo. It'd be tempting for Alfa Romeo to do that, but I think they're on the brink. If it's not already agreed, I think it's on the brink of being agreed that Zhou Guanyu will carry on. You know, he's done okay, Zhou Guanyu. He's not set the world on fire. You know, he's not been unbelievable. But I think he's done enough to warrant a second season in Formula One. And then if he's still kind of anonymous and he's still not really doing magical things after 2 years, then maybe you're not the one. Because you've got to come in and you've got to be magic. I think in Formula One, you've got to come in and you've got to do that thing where the fans and the followers and the journalists and the pundits all kind of go, oh wow, this is something special. Zhou Guanyu hasn't done that yet, right? But always the great drivers come in. I remember when Max Verstappen first started out, and he come in, and straight away you could just tell that it was, oh, this isn't just one of the pack. Oh, this is something. This, and you've got to come in. You've got to be magic. And Zhou Guanyu's not been magic yet, but he'll get another year, I think, at Alfa Romeo. So I don't think you'll see Daniel Ricciardo with Bottas, even though that'd be a strong lineup. You know, that's a good lineup. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I'd say it's unlikely. Now, there's a seat going to Alpha Tauri, but I'd say that is out of the question. You know, Gasly's obviously signed up. Tsunoda's an interesting one. Whether they'll keep Tsunoda is interesting. I feel like they will, pending his form in the second half of this season. I think Yuki Tsunoda has got to have a good second half of this season. They won't take him back. I don't know, Anto. I'm not sure if they take him back at Alpine. I don't know. Then other empty seats. Haas, yet to confirm Mick Schumacher. I think Magnussen has signed a 2-year deal, I believe. So I think Magnussen's pretty much confirmed for next year. But as for Mick Schumacher's got to be in Formula One next season, else I'll have a meltdown. Mick Schumacher's my boy, and he's been doing well of late. You know, he had an 8th place in, how was it? 8th in Austria, 6th at Silverstone, or the other way around. But anyway, I think he was 8th in Austria, 6th in Britain. So Mick Schumacher, I think Haas will keep the same lineup next year. Magnussen, Schumacher. Then obviously Aston Martin's out because that's Stroll and Alonso. That's just been confirmed. And then there's a seat at Williams. Will he really go to Williams next to Alexander Albon? You know, Williams could look at this Logan Sargent, American driver. They might be looking at Nick De Vries, who's currently doing a bit of testing. He's sort of getting his eye. He's sort of being mentioned a lot more recently, Nick De Vries. Could he get a seat? Would Ricciardo do that for the sake of being in Formula One? I feel like there's some drivers that it's like a case of it doesn't matter what team. You just got to be in Formula One. Like it's the best for your career, and it's just fully focused on Formula One. You don't mind if you're 18th or midfield team, just be in Formula One. And then there's other drivers who, if it's not the right opportunity, if it's not a top team or a winning team or a chance of winning races, being competitive, they'll move. And will Daniel Ricciardo look at IndyCar? This is all on the basis, obviously nothing's confirmed, this is all on the basis that Oscar Piastri will drive alongside Lando Norris at McLaren next year, which nothing is confirmed as we stand, but it's starting to look that way. It's starting to seriously look that way. And does Ricciardo speak to Alfa Romeo? Does he speak to Alpine? Maybe he ends up back at Alpine and they sort of have to lick over the old wounds and sort of say, let's have a fresh start together. Like getting back with that ex and giving it another go. I don't know. I don't know if that's right for either party. But yeah, other than that, does he look outside Formula One? Like I'm saying, you've got the drivers that no matter what, you've got to be in Formula One. Then you've got the drivers that'll say, oh, right, I haven't got a drive with the top team. I'll look elsewhere. I can go and win. Like Kobayashi and other drivers. Look at Marcus Ericsson. It's like, let's go to another series and win. Marcus Ericsson was anonymous in Formula One. He's now Indy 500. Did he call it champion? Indy 500 winner. He's gone from being anonymous in Formula One to winning the Indy 500. Kamui Kobayashi has gone from being a decent Formula One driver and a driver that I think should have had a longer career than he did and should have had a top team drive. Kamui Kobayashi left Formula One and has had a fantastic career in Endurance Championship. I don't even know how many times Kamui Kobayashi's won Le Mans, but I'd like to say at least twice. He's got lap records. I'm sure Kamui Kobayashi had the lap record at Le Mans for a few years. I think it's 3 minutes 26. Get in there. But, people have illustrious careers outside Formula One. People go to IndyCar. I mean, look at Roman Grosjean now, as far as I know. Roman Grosjean's doing bits in IndyCar. I'm sure he won a race a few months ago. I was like, go on, lad. Formula One's not the only motorsport category in the world, and whilst it is the pinnacle, people go off. I mean, Kimi Raikkonen went off and did rally for a couple of years and then come back. Fernando Alonso went and did World Endurance Championship, won Le Mans. Won Le Mans, tried to win Indy 500 a couple of times, and he's ended up coming back. Maybe Ricciardo goes to America for a couple of years, ends up coming back. You just don't know. Or does he go for a Williams seat? Does he go for a Haas seat? Maybe he speaks to Haas. Maybe he speaks to Alfa Romeo. Maybe he gets on the phone to Alpine. I do not know. But Mick better be here next year. I'll tell you now, mate. I'll be fuming because he's just started to look good, Mick Schumacher. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to come on, have a bit of a chat about Daniel Ricciardo because it's crazy that the sport finds itself in this position where, all his fans on Twitter and everything, because I'm on F1 Twitter, like literally all the people I follow and all the people that follow me are just F1 fans, so every single thing that I see on Twitter is F1 related, literally nothing else. Maybe football once every mile of scrolling I might see something about football, but it's literally all Formula One, and people are just like, people are switching the story saying that, he'll be free of McLaren. Like, as if he switched and now McLaren are like the villains, and it'd be like, finally, as if it's like, finally Daniel Ricciardo's going to be free of McLaren, and it's like, wait a minute, this is, but you know, Ricciardo's got a hell of a lot of fans, and you know, he's got a huge following. You know, people regard, you know, especially if you're like a diehard like Ricciardo fan, you know, people regard him in the same breath as Hamilton, and you know, they'll say like, oh, the big three is like Hamilton, Vettel, Ricciardo, and stuff like that, and you're thinking, maybe 5 years ago, but it's just mad. It's just mad. I mean, if it was to put my money down, if it was to put my money down, I say he goes to America. I say we see him in winning. I say we see him saying goodbye to Formula One. This is just a guess. I think he goes, I've had a good time, but it's time to step away, and I think he'll go to IndyCar / NASCAR / and tears it up and gets a top seat in IndyCar and runs the game. Honestly, I don't know why the green screen's messing up again, but that I think rather than, or does he cling on to Formula One? Does it, you know, or does he cling on and say, get me on the phone to Alfa Romeo, or, you know, get me on the phone to Williams, I'll go next to Albon? Does he end up back at Alpine? I mean, I really do not know. It's a big speculation, and you know, this guy's had a. This isn't just a bit part driver. This guy's had a 11-year, for all intents and purposes, last 2-3 years aside, he's had a brilliant Formula One career, one of the best drivers in the world, and now. Is he about to be pushed aside for the next man? Is he about to be pushed aside? Welcome in, Ryan Tune. I'm just going to wrap it up in a couple of minutes, because I feel like I've pretty much said all I wanted to say about this, but it's just mad. If you'd have told me 4 years ago, you know, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be potentially be pushed out of Formula One, or certainly pushed out of a team, you know, in 2022, I go, you're mad. You know, he's winning races. But this is the situation. Let me just mess with that again, so that we're not glowing. So that we're not glowing green. Oh, that's gone worse. Go the other way, the other way, the other way, the other way. The other way, the other way, that's it. Yeah, take care. See you in a bit, Ernesto. But yeah, I'm in near enough. I mean, I've said all I wanted to say. But Daniel Ricciardo's position in Formula One looks under threat. You know, certainly his position at McLaren is seriously under threat. Why does he turn? Does he turn back to the team that he left, this team? Does he turn back to this team? Renault, now rebranded as Alpine. Does he now look at them for the future? Or is it all a big game? Is he staying at McLaren? Is Piastri playing a big game? Has Piastri got something up his sleeve? You know? Because we don't know about this Oscar Piastri. He's already put Alpine in the bin. You know, has he got a secret up his sleeve, Oscar Piastri? It's just crazy. But I hope that Daniel Ricciardo's still. I'd love to see him come good again. I'd love to see Ricciardo come good on the back of this, and like be back to his old self, back to the late on the brakes, the full dive bomb modes that we used to see in Daniel Ricciardo's prime. I'd love to see him come back to his best. You know, and get over this chapter and say, right, I had a couple of years struggling at McLaren, you know, I had an anonymous year at Renault, I had a couple of years struggling at McLaren, but the car didn't really suit me, and now bang, we go back to Alpine, and we're slamming it, and we, you know, when he's back on form, who knows, maybe he goes to like I was saying a minute ago, maybe he goes to America and runs the game, maybe he goes to IndyCar and smashes it. You just don't know. But watch this space, and if there is any news on this, I'll be live for it, discussing it. You know, if there's any further development, if Piastri's confirmed at McLaren for next year, or if there's any update from McLaren, any update from Ricciardo. Because a few months ago, Ricciardo was saying, I've got a contract for next year and I intend to see it through, and the team are telling me I'm going to see it through, and that's it. And, you know, 3 or 4 months ago, there were statements coming out. He's got a contract. It's fine. We carry on. You know, the form's not great, but we've signed up for 23, and that's the end of it. But now, with this Piastri drama, putting Alpine in the mud. Why would Piastri put Alpine in the mud if he didn't have an agreement with McLaren? So, I mean, you know, I really don't know what is going to happen in this scenario. But you bet your bottom dollar when and if there's an update on this, I'll be back live, and we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about Daniel Ricciardo opening up old wounds with Renault / Alpine. You know, the shocking return. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? But maybe Alpine will say thanks, but no thanks. You know, if Ricciardo comes knocking back on the door, and, you know, Ricciardo comes knocking. You know, sorry I left you. You know, sorry I left you to... The grass is always greener on the other side. Can we give it another go? Maybe they say, you know, we've had our time. We've had our time. We had our 2 years together, and it didn't pan out. And then what does he do? We'll find out. We will find out. But it's crazy that he's in this position. Such a talented driver. And, you know, he's in bad form. But he's won 8 Grand Prix, you know, this is no slouch. And I'd love to see him get back to his brilliant best when he was the latest of late breakers in that Red Bull. I'd love to see him get back to that, but the problem is it's been too poor for too long. You know, you can have an off weekend, you can have an off few races. You know, you can have, you know, 4 or 5 races in a row where things don't exactly go, you know, entirely your way, and you're a bit of bad luck, a bit of this, but you can't be doing that for seasons. You know, I feel like this is going on for seasons now, where he's just being relentlessly beaten by Lando Norris every single practice session, every single qualifying session, every single race, week after week after month after season. And now it's getting to the point where, you know, it's like 18 months in, or like, and he still can't get close to Norris. And at what point does Zach Brown look to someone else? And I think maybe Zach Brown has looked at someone else, and that man is 21-year-old rookie and Alpine test and reserve driver, but no longer, after the tweet the other day, Oscar Piastri, and they now look into the future, and that will be a hell of a lineup for McLaren as well. A Norris Piastri lineup is beast. Yes, Liam, welcome to the stream. I'm about to end it anyway. Kimi took 2 years out. Exactly. Daniel can do the same. I was saying that a couple of minutes ago. You know, he could go 2 years in IndyCar, smash up the game, win the Indy 500 2024, and then come back. you just don't know. You just don't know. You know, I was saying it. I think if he is replaced by Piastri, he's then got a decision. The decision is, do you stay in F1 at all costs? In other words, you take the seat next to Albon at Williams, or you're phoning up Haas and you're saying, listen, you know, I can beat Kevin, or you know, it's at all costs. You know, do you go to Alfa Romeo? You know, is it like remain in F1 at all costs, or does he look to something else? Does he look to something completely fresh, not just a fresh team, but a fresh sport? Does he look at IndyCar and go, do you know what, I can bring something to this? You know, he loves the US Grand Prix, doesn't he? He loves America, doesn't he, Daniel Ricciardo? He loves putting on his accents and all that. He could end up in America. If I was a betting man, that's probably what I would say, other than going over old ground with Alpine. I say the two likeliest options are he goes back to his ex in the form of Alpine, or he says, peace, I've had my Formula 1 time, but that's not the only category in the world. Off to the Big Apple, or whatever you want to call it, the Big Fish, or whatever, over to the States. Maybe that's the card he pulls out. But yeah, like I say, any update I'll be on. Any update with this Piastri, McLaren, Ricciardo, unbelievable drama mess fire that this is, I'll be on. Obviously, any other big news as well, I'll be on, because there's not a race now for 3 weeks. So any other big breaking news as well. I feel like the Porsche buying into Red Bull news is around the corner, so I'll come on and talk about that if that's confirmed, and we'll go through the article, whatever it is at the time. Yeah, other small news I won't bother, but if there's a big, like, bang, a big headline and a big piece of news, I'll be on. It's summer break, innit? There's not a lot else to do. I'm going to do some gaming over the summer break as well. Bit of F1 career mode. We'll bring that back from the dead. I've not been on it for a couple of weeks. We'll bring that back from the dead as well. We'll change teams. We've got to get out of that Williams. It's just paying its last every single race. But we'll get out of that Williams and we'll start moving up the grid. But yeah, any breaking news, I'll be on. Bit of gaming, and yeah, we'll just bridge the gap until the Belgian Grand Prix in about 3 weeks. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. If you have enjoyed it, please do drop me a like, because it does help out the channel, and you know, lets YouTube know that I'm on the scene. I'm on the Formula 1 scene, and you know, gets us on the list on it. So please drop me a like and subscribe if you are a Formula 1 fan, for more news updates like this. Well, this wasn't really a news update, this was just kind of a discussion, you know, because obviously this was breaking news like 4 or 5 days ago, but I just wanted to come on, have a chat, give you my thoughts, get some thoughts off you guys, and yeah, but I will be back if there's any further developments in the Formula 1 world. But all that aside, yeah, drop me a like, subscribe if you're a fan of Formula 1, if you're new to the channel. But yeah, apart from that, guys, I will see you all when there's any further developments. Peace out, guys. See you in the next one. Later, tax. Appreciate every single one of you that's joined and watched this, by the way. You know, obviously not been doing this long, and appreciate all of you. And this is the road to 1K. However slow that bar moves, however slow that progress bar moves, it might be the slowest loading progress bar in the world, but eventually that orange will get all the way across, and then the champagne is coming out. So see you next time, guys. Peace out, peace out, peace out. Oh, 45 minutes on Daniel Ricciardo. Get in there, lad.